gun control bills passed Maryland House of Delegates. With little debate, the Maryland House of Delegates on Thursday passed 3 gun control bills that expand the state's assault weapons ban and creates ways to seize guns from dangerous people. The chamber approved 128-7, a ban on bump stocks and other devices that were used in Vegas. All right, I'm trying to get... the bill also passed a so-called red flag law that would allow a judge to order gun owners to temporarily surrender their firearms if they're deemed a threat to themselves or others. Why don't you do a screening in the first place? Why don't you do a screening in the first place? Why don't you have better screenings in the first place so if somebody is a threat to themselves or others, they don't get a firearm? I mean, I'm glad there's legislation out there. I really am. The chamber also approved a new way to make sure gun owners convicted of domestic violence incidents surrender their weapons. They should never get them in the first place. Again, I'm glad something's out there, but this is stuff that should be no-brainers. A domestic abuser should not be able to go get a firearm. What's crazy about that? How is that not even just assumed? Why does that even need to be? So why? And again, I don't understand why what I talked about for gun control is unreasonable. It's similar to what Australia does and what Switzerland does. And if people want to use their firearms for hunting or in the case of an emergency or whatever, it doesn't totally prohibit you from doing that. It doesn't, if you live out, in the middle of nowhere or whatever, and you feel like just in case you would want to have that gun, it's more likely to hurt someone in your home. Statistics show it's more likely to hurt someone in your home than ever hurt an intruder. But still, like, you can actually, here's what I call for. Again, extensive background checks, references, mental health evaluations, a course and an exam, registration renewal similar to a car, ammunition regulation, and a buyback program similar to what Australia did. And more extensive background checks. What's unreasonable about any of that? What is unreasonable? If you're a responsible gun owner, what's unreasonable about that? If you hunt deer, what's unreasonable about that? If you live in a certain area where you feel like you need that for self-defense, what's unreasonable about my proposal? Phil points out psychologically, guns are the power of life and death in your hand. Testosterone hardwired to testicles weaponized. How to solve gun control. Make gun manufacturers liable to pay all publicly incurred costs of shootings, i.e. police, medical, legal, etc. See, I feel like that takes what needs to be federal legislation and kind of puts it on the local level. I think we need something. Federal. I don't think we can leave it up to the states. And the bad guy will still get guns. Maybe, but I mean, it would be a hell of a lot better than what we have. I mean, that's pretty much the argument of, well, laws don't work, so why have them? Really? Okay, so why don't we? Bad guys don't follow laws, Ron. Okay, so why do we have laws about murder then, Chris? Why do we have laws about murder? Bad guys don't follow laws. They murder anyway. So why should we even have laws about it? Just do whatever you want. Why do we have laws about anything then? Laws don't work, so why do we have them? I mean, Chicago is gun-free. So you're saying just totally ban it altogether, which, I mean, again, in a hypothetical world, I would love that, but I'm being realistic. Like that's not realistic. I mean, in a hypothetical world, guns would never be made anymore. In my utopia. But I'm being realistic. If they tried to quote unquote outlaw all the guns and get rid of all the guns, which by the way isn't actually what they did in Australia. They did a buyback program, which I'm calling for that here. I'm calling for that here. Disarm the police. I wish. Again, I mean, if you're going to say this is the way it ought to be, I agree with you. We don't disagree. I totally agree with you. I wish that was the world we lived in. But I'm being realistic. I'm being realistic. And gun control should start with the police and military. I agree with you, Stephen. The key word there, should. It will not. It's not going to unfold that way. So, yeah, I mean, hey. Maybe I'm just a little more cynical than some of you guys. But I'm trying to think of policies that I think could work. And I wish outlawing all guns could work here. It would not. It wouldn't work. It wouldn't happen. So I'm trying to be realistic. We are a gun-obsessed nation. We have an obsession with violence that most countries don't have. John Oliver's parody Child's book is outselling Pence's. Balthazar points out. By the way, Balthazar, thank you so much for the Super Chat contribution. DC points out that buybacks work. I think a buyback would work here. I think a buyback would totally work. And would it completely solve all of our problems? No. But, you know. Good morning, everybody. 4 a.m. here. The things I do to get my news on with Ron. Yeah, it's Platypus. This is my new YouTube. I made it to post my own videos, which leads me to what I need to say. Thank you, Ron, for being you and an inspiration. Aw, thank you very much, Platypus. I appreciate that very much. And thank you very, very much for the Super Chat contribution. I appreciate it. Kate points out, gun control should start with the ammunition. It should be regulated like cold medicine. Agreed. I think ammunition regulation would go a long way. That's what they do in Switzerland. And they also have certain places you can go to get guns. I think if we took some notes from Switzerland and from Australia, we could really do a lot to curtail gun violence in this country. Would we eliminate it completely? Probably not. But would we come a long way? Yeah. Would we have a school shooting every other day? I don't think so. I don't think that would happen anymore. I think we'd make a huge dent because we're the only country that has school shootings like this. Swiss get their gun training as part of their military service, Kane points out. Well, I mean, what I'm calling for here, it's not mandatory. Like, you don't have, it's just if you want to own a gun, that's something you have to do. School shooters aren't going to sell back their guns, and it won't prevent them from going out and getting one. All right, so why have laws? Yeah, I mean, totally. Yeah, you guys, why have laws? We shouldn't have laws about anything. Just why have laws? That's honestly your guys' argument. Bad guys will still get guns, so why have laws? We just shouldn't. Or you're saying bad guys would still get guns, so let's outlaw them completely, which is totally unrealistic, would never happen here, at least not anytime in our lifetimes. So, I mean, how is that any different than saying, let's do nothing? Let's do something that for sure is not going to happen. How is that better than doing nothing? Straw man alert? Am I putting out a straw man? How am I putting out a straw man? Bad guys will still get gun? Is that the straw man? Or am I putting out the straw man? Bad guys are still going to get guns. So we shouldn't do anything. Okay. I mean, that's the same. Well, people are still going to murder. Why should we have laws? People are still going to, like, okay. I mean, that's an interesting take, I guess. And Marcus, if I'm the one putting the straw man, please explain to me how. How am I putting out the straw man? Wait, so Ron is actually the one saying don't ban guns. Every bill says regardless of what's in it. Outlaw gun manufacturing. No one will fix gun violence. We've got to tackle this from different angles. Gun legislation won't stop the amount of murders. Oh, bad guys with guns is the straw man. Okay. Yeah, I'm actually with you. We need to address the violent culture and desperation in our society as well. Abso-freaking-lutely. The harder you make it, the less motivated, low motivated kids will be to get guns. Jules points out. Yeah, I'm with you. Outlaw gun manufacturing. That's actually that's actually a pretty good idea. I'm with you there. I'm with you. I think that's, yeah. I'm adding that to my list of things I want to see happen. Outlaw the manufacturing. We got enough of them. We got enough of them. And we have these insane, ridiculous shows, which, by the way, you shouldn't be able to sell guns there anymore. You shouldn't be able to sell, but there's plenty of guns already. There's plenty of guns already. So in all the stuff that I proposed, I agree with Video Game Vision Quest, and I'm adding that to the list. Yeah, that's on my list. And again, I wish we lived in a nation without guns. That's what I would like. And if you want to go hunt, use a bow and arrow. If you want to have self-defense, again, have some other type of, have pepper spray or a taser or something in the case of self-defense. If an intruder comes into your home. I understand we live in a dangerous world. I get it. Hey guys, thanks for watching. That was a clip from Get Your News On with Ron, the world's first viewer-curated streaming news show. What does that mean? That means I log on to a stream and people tweet me articles over on Twitter at Ron Placone, or they use our Reddit subsection, which is just Get Your News On with Ron over on Reddit. And that's how we build the show. I'm seeing all these articles for the first time. We are literally getting our news on together. Follow me on Twitter at Ron Placone so you can participate. And this show streams live every Tuesday through Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So please do tune in. If you want to support this show, you can do so over on patreon.com/Ron Placone, where for as low as $1 a month, you get access to exclusive podcasts every week, exclusive videos, free tickets to shows when I'm performing in your town, and more for as low as $1 a month. Please do consider it. Thank you so much for your support. This has been Get Your News On with Ron.